You are now live.
Am I a bad boss? Nobody's here.
Oh, hang on. I'm having trouble here. Hang on.
Jim just up and left the group. Didn't say a word. Right.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Have you finished arguing with people from Bradford?
Well, I thought I had earlier, but then once you think you're in, they just suck you back in.
Yeah. Oh, Beth has messaged. Oh, great. Okay, cool. Hang on. One moment, please, people. I'm just trying to work something out.
You are the noisiest typer.
It's a really bad keyboard. I don't know why it's in here. Yeah, it's an old one.
Nolan's not finished arguing with the Bradford fans. Keep going, Nolan.
We'll talk about it in a second. And apologies that I'm doing admin as we're on. Mike, talk to the people.
Hello, everybody. How are you? That's good. That's as much as I can feel, mate.
Good. Right. Well, fine. I've just messaged somebody. Right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Really?
We haven't done one. It feels like we haven't done one of these for ages. Has there been much going on? Crawley was all right. Have we done one since Mansfield? We haven't we?
Yeah, we did one last Sunday?
Are we doing one Easter? Are we doing one Easter Sunday?
I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. I'm either up north back home or I'm down here at the in-laws. So
I don't know. It's great. We don't have any guests today. This is as old school as it always is. It's just two people rambling.
We don't have any guests, but we don't have any pod members. It's just me and you, mate.
Just me and you. Bruce is at the pub. Sam's not here either. Neither is everybody else. But so please keep us company. So come say hello, ask any questions. I forgot to put the 4-word thing up, which is always a nice little filler in case we miss anything. And we'll go from there really. Let's get into it, then we can all go home.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Drew! They've done it again, this team!
What a magnificent piece of football!
Really good goal!
You can't let me slip from that! Grimsby are heading back to the Football League.
Love it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DN35 podcast. I don't know. We should really start with better. What?
In modern, are you playing music as well?
I'm playing music. All right, I'll ruin it.
Oh,
Sorry.
mate, I can't be coping with this. That's far too retro. I couldn't hear you. You broke up.
We're breaking up.
Yeah, when you play music, it struggles with your mic.
Any better?
There you go. It's
There
going
you
well,
go.
isn't it?
That's all right. Right. I don't think we want to start with men's. We want to start with a decent news, don't we?
Yes. Very good news.
Amazing news. Let's have a quick check. I want to get this up so I've got all the details correct as well. So, Grimsby Town Women's team have won the East Midlands Women's Regional Football League. They've won it at a canter, Division 1 North. Let's have a quick double check of this. Let's see how far away it was. Why am I not getting anything? I'm doing this wrong. It's not giving me my table. Let's not talk about the women's team. Let me do some looking. They were top.
That's all you need to know. They won it. They won it by a country mile.
We'll do it properly. I haven't got the league table anymore. It was all loaded up and everything. This is not going well today.
You see what happens when Bruce goes away?
It feels like the kids messing about. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, here we go. Why is it not giving me the table? Oh, it was Lee. Yeah, division. Here we go. So the Grimsby Town women's team have won Division 1 North and won it, as you say, by a country mile. The last-minute goal today confirmed the title. There's one game left in the league. They move up to the next tier, which is the Premier Division of it. That includes teams like Notts County, Lincoln United, Chesterfield, Rotherham United, and Mansfield as well. So there's quite a few teams in there that will be recognised. Yeah, it's incredible, and it's always great. It's just a shame, I mean, massive well done. That's incredible stuff. We'll try and get somebody on. Apologies for absolutely messing it up, but incredible stuff. Luke Walsh from Halifax has come on to just tell us that Halifax is back at way. Don't bring me back down with that, Luke. We're all hungover. Leave us alone.
Aren't they permanently at Wembley?
Well, it feels like we are. What was the other one? Bolton smashed Plymouth. What was the score in that one?
So it's 4 now at some point. I think
They
and then
all
all
were
the
all even up,
Plymouth
yeah.
fans disappeared, didn't they?
We're only 2-0 up, though.
That was 4-0,
Why is
wasn't
it?
it? When they left.
Yeah, well done to Bolton. Absolutely smashed it. Right then, let's have a quick look. Everyone's saying hello. Jack wants to know, suppose what's the reaction to yesterday's results was just as much as battleground as it always is. Josh Donner says everyone's saying Max needs to go, but I think it's his only bad game. Yes, he's made mistakes, but what keeper doesn't? He definitely needs someone to challenge him. We'll get into that, Josh.
Yeah.
Luke is going to use the money to buy Green and Malak. I mean, yeah, fine.
You were so close to saying you can have them then, weren't you? And then you backtracked.
No, well, that Crawley penalty was a bit silly, wasn't it?
Never a penalty. I'm still 100%. I've gone all in and I'm not going all out. I'm saying it's not a penalty, Crawley.
Oh, hang on. We've got some breaking news. 2 seconds. Have we got a breaking news thing? Oh, it's only the Belingo watch, though, isn't it?
Todger watch, wasn't it, or something?
Where is it? Have we got rid of it? No, they're the images. That's not the video. Hang on. We'll go to breaking news. Oh, hang on. That don't work. This is broken. Everything's broken.
I do have Belingo watch news, by the way.
Graham Potter has been sacked at Chelsea. There you go. There's your breaking news. Who cares?
More as we get it. But he's been sacked.
As has Brendan Rodgers. So, I mean, apparently we're covering the Premier League. Now we've got delusions of grandeur. Now, we've played a couple of Premier League teams.
I think you bloody talk sport, you don't you?
Yeah. Oh,
is that where Bruce is? He's outside Chelsea's ground.
All I'm saying is Natalie Sawyer said I was entertaining.
Right. It's not always a good thing, though, is it?
No, true. Yeah, Andrew Niles is right. Graham Potter has got a Belingo. His Belingo is now leaving Stamford Bridge. There we go. Right, let's go into some proper football stuff. So, Town Crawley. Mike, you didn't go. How far do you live from Crawley in miles?
Don't start. Yeah, I live very close to Crawley, but I didn't finish work in time to get on
Is it more than 20 miles away?
Do you know? I don't think it is. It must be about 20 miles from Sutton. If somebody wants to Google it, you can see how far it is. It's not very far.
So his beloved Grimsby Town, less than 20 miles away from his house. Straight run down the M23. No problems on the roads. Yes, on that day it was quite nice, a bit wet.
Well, there would be if I went, wouldn't there? Because I can't bloody drive. So it would have been if I'd been driving.
There we go. So do you know what it was? please do come in on this, and anyone who went, because I was thoroughly entertained. I thought we were great. I thought I haven't seen us being that dominant in a team. And look, Crawley are down there, but much like I was peed off when we lost to Gillingham, but I was told, look at the form. It's exactly the same. Crawley hadn't lost in 4, and we absolutely battered them. Absolutely well and truly battered them. Very rare, I'll say that. From start to finish, completely dictated the play. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 75% possession. We just don't know how to put the ball in the bloody net. And we went close a number of times. George Lloyd hit the woodwork. We got put through a couple of times. And yeah, it was frustrating when we lost. Mike, you got a thought on that penalty? I just thought it was a bit clumsy. I'd be disappointed if we didn't get it. It's not too dissimilar to the one that Bradford didn't get given for us against Bradford yesterday.
Look, I can see why it's given. I don't really have too many complaints because he has gone in. I don't buy the argument he shouldn't be going in. He hasn't got a choice but to put a challenge in. I don't think. I think the player's about to pull the trigger, have a shot on goal or hit it across the 6-yard box. I think he's committed and he's got to go in. Didn't think it was a penalty. Might be a little bit biased to that. I thought he got a little bit on the ball, deviated it onto his hand, but they gave it. It was a funny game. We've spoken a long time about sort of just how we struggle against lesser teams.
Sorry, mate.
You're all right. How we struggle against lesser teams, and how we and how sometimes we just can't break them down and we don't play attractive football. Now, I think on the Tuesday we played some really, really good stuff. I can't believe we didn't score more than one. We had so many chances. Lloyd hitting the crossbar, Clifton missing a sitter, Khan missing them. Everybody seemed to be wanting to miss on Tuesday. We should have won that game at a canter. And for all the good football we played and all the chances we created, I think we actually had 21 shots on goal. Which
did we really?
Yeah, which
Amazing.
is only something similar for Mansfield the game before. So we're getting shots on goal now. But for all those shots on goal and all those chances created, if you stay in a game at 1-0, you're always going to get a chance. And that's sort of what happened. They got a chance. They took it. Max was unlucky not to stop it. But it was a bit of a daylight robbery. But, the keys are we're doing a lot better. We're playing a lot better football. We're creating chances. It's nicer to watch. It is progress. Whether it's quick or not is another matter, but it is progress.
That's nothing. We have got a Grimsby Town champion on. Alicia, thank you so much for jumping on. Apologies for interrupting these celebrations.
Yeah, probably home in the background, so apologies there.
Congratulations to absolutely everyone. Incredible game. From what I was told, completely dominant. How does it feel?
It's great. To be fair, all the girls worked really hard. We can thank the management, Hayley. We were also close at getting a goal, and it's shocking really that it was just one goal that did it. But that's all we needed, so that was the main thing. But everyone did well. The triumph through the team was amazing, and now the spirit's great. Yeah! Sorry.
No. We've not won a Link title since I've been born. Love it. Go for it. Absolutely amazing.
I know, it's great. No, they deserve it. They really do. And like I say, the management, everyone has been amazing. I wouldn't have been able to do it without all these girls. None of these girls would. So we're all so happy, and we can't wait for the next step, to be honest.
So next step, we will have a look at some of the teams. Some pretty impressive opposition in there. Are you?
Yeah. And I think we've played some of them. Yeah, so it will be good. We've played some of them, but yeah, we're ready. We're ready for it. I feel like we've done so well this season, not lost a game, unbeaten. So why not go up and show them who Grimsby Town Women are?
That's amazing. 9 goals conceded all season as well, isn't it? That's a hell of a defence.
Well, yeah. So we're all great. They're all here behind me.
That's amazing.
So yeah, and we want to thank all the supporters as well. Honestly, the people that showed up today, there was so many, and we all want to say thank you. And like I say, management, Paul, Hayley, been amazing. So it's been really good.
That's incredible. We're all so proud of what you've all achieved. It's been amazing.
And hopefully get our name out and people come support us, come down to our games now and cheer us on.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we don't want to keep you away from the boozing because you've deserved it. Thank you so much for jumping on. Good luck. We shall see you play Works Up again, don't you?
Yes, we do. We play Works Up again. Not this week, the following week. But I'm sure it'll all be out there with the PR, and you can obviously, hopefully, loads of people come down and watch. Lots of big celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, go get hammered. Is that
Go
what
get
I should be
pissed.
saying?
No, thank you so much for having me on here. Thank you so much.
No, anytime. You're more than welcome. Have a great time. Enjoy it, girls. You've been incredible. That sounds like it's the best nightclub in Grimsby tonight. That's amazing.
We are going up.
I don't you know, pump it up on here.
Oh, we've missed a chance, haven't we? Well, that sounds like that's going to be a cracking night, doesn't it?
I mean, Christ, that house is going to be a night. God, winning the league. It felt very Leicester City when they won the league back in 2016.
This is what they do.
Do you know what? I don't know what it's like to win a league. Now we do.
Yeah. I'm banking that though. I'm banking that. That's the league win.
Yeah, 9 goals conceded all season. Do you know what they did in Colombia once? They
do lots of things in Colombia.
Yeah. Well, they don't. They sell it.
Where's this going?
Don't. Bradford fans will jump on this. I can see Matt Lawton from the Times over in the corner already.
Did somebody say Colombia?
Their badges were like divided in half. So both the men and the women's team had half a badge. And left and right and stuff. And I think that was quite cool. And it increased the attendances by about 75% because it was all wrapped up in everything else. But it'd be nice if the club, we talked about it on Twitter, but it'd be nice if there's a bit more of a connection going forward, getting them playing at Blue Park in the summers, whatever they can do.
Yeah, hopefully the promotion can be a nice catalyst for sort of a natural progression of the coverage and the notice that the ladies team get. Because it has been a bit bitty. I think Chiffy on Twitter has done a great job at keeping people up to date with things. I would really like to see what we saw today more often, the actual town account or a specific ladies account, and something to get a bit of interest to know about Grimsby Town ladies. Because you know what? Every kid's dream is to play for their football club, and that was always a boy's dream. And now, thankfully, because of the progression of the ladies' game, that can be little girls' dream of playing for the club. So hopefully, it can keep going, and we can keep getting the word out about how well they're doing. But massive congratulations to them! Really impressed with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, if anybody wants to, the vast majority of us don't live in Grimsby, Bruce and Ian aside. So if any of you want to cover it and use the podcast, like this works for anything. So if anybody, budding journalists out there, want to work on it and do it, then drop us a DM. We'll happily work you through it and see what we can do, because it would be great to give them more coverage. And if we were all up there, we would do it. We just it's a heck of a long trip from Hampshire. But do you know what? I'd log in if they put the games on YouTube. I'd be watching them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, God, conceding 9 goals all season. Would any of them like to play on Friday? Brilliant. Do you know what? Amazing. You can't get any more superlatives on it. Square Eye said, I'd like to see the team play at a venue where it's in or near a bus route. I mean, that's great. I don't even know what bus route that'd be on. It'd be close to the 9X, wouldn't it? But you'd still have a fair old trek to walk. Do you know what? I've got to put this down because I keep flicking a plug. Do you know what? Incredible stuff. Do we have to talk about Crawley and Bradford? Can we just talk about that? Let's have a look. Hang on, I'm in the wrong league. 2 seconds. So scored 35 goals this season, conceded 9, lost once. I thought I said they were unbeaten. 110,
Don't count.
Drawn 2. Maybe they got the right. Yeah, maybe they got it wrong. And they played Gainsborough, Sleaford, Grimsby, St. Joe, who are Works Up, and Lincoln United as well. So huge congratulations. They move up to the Premier League of the East Midlands Women's Regional Football Team. Then they move up to the National South.
Yeah, isn't it the last regional league they're going into? Somebody said.
Yeah, I think so. So next league, Notts County
They
look
might say
like
Scunny.
they've won that one. What? That does a disservice to the women's team, for Christ's sake. We'll talk about them in a minute. Yeah, I think they're going to be tier 5 now. Well worth getting in, and I hope the club do some more. And again, if you want to do anything through us, then drop us a line. We'll happily, put this over to someone far more professional than us to do it. Right, Crawley. Oh God, Crawley. Okay, fine. We played all right. We played really well. I think it was the most dominant performance I've seen us play this season. It was a shame we didn't come away with the win. We should have done. It shows we need a striker. Any problems there? Not really.
A point that I was thinking about really though is I saw a lot, and I probably the same thing. We need somebody that can finish. But when you look at Crawley, Lloyd, Clifton, and Khan, you would pretty much think are decent at finishing. So I don't think it's necessarily too much that if you create 21 shots on goal, you should be scoring more than one, no matter who you've got. But the players that miss, the players you would ordinarily pretty much back to score. So it's a difficult one.
And it's one of these ones as well. It's like I don't think I'm going to make a mountain out of nothing. I think I saw one or two criticisms of first. You don't criticize him for that. He's put a team out on the pitch that's created 21 chances. What do you want him to do? Put them in the net for them as well. So this 4-3-3 formation seems to really work.
I was going to say, interesting, he's moved back from a back five, hasn't he? And we've been discussing for a while that we wondered when he would do that. He's on record as saying he's not a massive fan of a back five. It's just circumstance. So I liked the look of us as a back four. I thought Emmanuel for the first 20 minutes was bloody unplayable. Just the quality that he had, unfortunately, didn't last the full game, but the quality he showed in the first 20, 25 minutes maybe makes you realise why I think we might struggle to keep hold of him in the summer, because I thought he was fantastic.
Got plenty of moolah. We've got it almost feels like we play 3-3-3, and then Emmanuel or Glennon or Amos plays sort of a free role, kind of like what they do at Sheffield United, where they just move everyone across a little bit and then have an extra man to overload the wings and stuff. It does really work. And I take all credit to the Town fans that made the journey. I mean, it's not big enough. It's not a big journey for me, but for those who did make it, that's incredible stuff. Some sort of 12,000 miles done in the last, 2,000 miles in the last month done is pretty outstanding. 12,000 fans, I think, was the overall.
It's just absolutely bonkers the amount of distance fans have been doing the last couple of months. Travel isn't cheap, tickets ain't cheap. We just consistently turn out good attendances. So look, if you're one of the people that have been going to these games, absolutely well done. I know it's not easy, but I think players, staff seeing us having a following helps the team, but also I think it's probably going to be one of these things that help us in the summer. We've touched on before about trying to attract players. If we can make sure we've got a big away following, that's going to be something that is probably to our advantage. But honestly, if you've been racking the miles up, well done, because it's not easy at the minute, and you far more committed than I've been.
I wouldn't want to see your bank balance. Christ, take a hammer in. And then we'll move on to Bradford again. Incredible. I don't think you went, did you, Mike? You watched it on telebobs like me?
Yeah, I've just got back from France.
Yeah, bonjour. Got through the Calais storm. But yeah, it was again, I thought we started really well. I think we do have my worry is, and this is kind of it felt a bit of a microcosm of Hurst back at Blundell Park, where we struggle to arrest a slide. So if the momentum goes one way, we really struggle in getting it the other way. And you can kind of see that in the seasons we play. So, last season started really well, went on that terrible run, then got back on it. And it's again sort of mirrored it this season, started well, bad spell, and then got back into it again. And it's just that struggle. I mean, Bradford were good, and they're the team you sort of want to look at. But I did criticize their fans before, everyone was starting moaning yesterday. I wouldn't want to play there as a player. Like, it felt very much like, you know, Emirates, like just at the end of the Wenger era, where they got booed off at half time. They're in the playoffs. They were losing by one goal. And, you know, I just found that incredible. They were moaning and whinging at every ball that was played and everyone passed that didn't make it. Yeah, it was. I wouldn't want to play there, and I think they can be I think that can be their weak point. Really, I don't expect them to go up.
No, they're a strange lot over there. You know, my interactions on Twitter over the last 24 hours has reinforced that they're a bit weird. I don't get booing your team off when you're losing at halftime when you're in the playoffs. That's just bonkers. I'd understand it if you're down near where the relegation zone, but it was an odd game because I thought we started first 4 or 5 minutes really quick and really good, and I think we had a stonewall penalty turned down. Then they seem to grab a goal against her in a play. And then for a good few minutes, I thought this was a bit like the Alamo. Like I was like, they're gonna score every minute. They had a lot of pressure, and I think we were lucky to keep it to 1-0 actually. But we stayed in the game and then turned it round for half time with those two goals. I thought we played some good stuff. Again, final third is the problem, is the quality, picking the right pass and playing it well. That seems to be the problem. It's the final product. Second half, I think we didn't come out to part the bus, but we came out to not do much more than that. And I think we tried to run the game down, and I think the way we were playing didn't allow us to break forward as much as we had in the first half. And I think genuinely that because of that, that's why we just conceded. I think we just gave them too much of the ball.
I thought Smith was found out a little bit yesterday, and I don't just mean that he stood out, but just in terms of I'm really impressed with him, and I would love to keep him. But I think that was the first game I've seen for a long time where he looked a little bit at sea. And that's not to say the other defence didn't either. We missed Luke Waterfall, and he probably did too, like next to him for that physicality. But there are a couple of moments where I think he got the guy's got the right side of him. And I don't know, maybe it was the physicality or not. I'm not sure. But it was that was surprising. And I don't mean to. And when I say that, I don't mean that he was the worst. It was noticeable because he's always so dependable. I
think what it comes from, Alex, is I think at Crawley he was immense. I think he was really, really good at Crawley. Because I remember, I thought the entire defence at Crawley were great until Mayer had a brain fart. So I think he was so good at Crawley, and then he was not terrible on Saturday, but he weren't great. And what we have to remember with young players like this, they're going to have that inconsistency. But I think all round, I think he's had another good season at professional men's level football, league level. And I'm like you, I'd love to see him stay here because I think that kid's got bags of potential. Could be really, really good centre half.
You've got the makings of a half decent spine, haven't you? With Smith, Hunt, Clifton. That's a hell of a team to start your basis on to build it around. Yeah. You just need to find the striker that goes with it. Don't
forget, Green's only like 23, isn't he? I know he looks.
Do you know what? I forget.
He looks 50, but he's like 23 years old.
And we made the point on the podcast, and I think some of you guys are coming in like saying it as well. Like we just look knackered. It is worth saying, like, for those who don't follow us on Twitter, that in the last month we've played 10 games. Bradford have played 6. We've played 3 games since their last match that they played before they faced us. And of those games that they've played, 4 of them were at home, and the 2 away games were at Newport and Walsall, which are about 600 miles, a return journey. And, we all know who we've played, and that's something of around 2,200 miles. So it's a huge thing, like in terms of, I can't expect them to be, and it's just going to be the same, unfortunately, for the rest of the season. But I don't know whether or not Hurst uses the subs bench as well as he could be doing for that, but he might be going with it a different way.
I think what we're seeing him do is just leave players out completely. There's been quite a few that have been left out of the 18. And just talking about subs, one problem we had against Crawley is we made some subs and it sort of killed the game again. So that's, I think we were talking about last week. Sometimes you have to remember that if you make the subs, doesn't necessarily improve the team. I think he's keeping a team, playing it, taking 2 or 3 out, giving them a week off, and then bringing them back in. I think that's how he's doing it, as opposed to just 70 minutes making loads of subs. Because sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Ollie, I'm not having this. There's 1 year difference between Green and Hunt. No, there isn't. Green must be that Nigerian player that said he was 18 and looked 45. I'm
Green's
not having that.
25. He's 25.
Is he?
I was wrong. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I'm not having that. How bad was Green's paper round? It's all that tackling. Christ, I'm not having that. That's amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Do you know what? I'm not displeased with the performances we put in. They've all come with reasons. And again, Hurst watches the same games that I do. And I think if he starts watching something, saying something different from what I'm seeing, or kind of, then I'm going to be starting to that's when I'd start to worry and press a panic button, because he was pissed off at Crawley. And you can tell why. Bradford, he was, aware of it, appreciated the performance. Bradford, we can't forget, are pushing for the playoffs. So it's a really interesting one that where they're going. And I don't know. We just need to get a couple of wins under our belt, because it's quite tight up that way.
Yeah, I've said before. I mean, it's frustrating, all these draws. Some of them we should have won, so, and what have you. But all these draws is, if we can just turn a few into wins, I honestly don't think we're far away next year. Was it 10, 12 points to the playoffs? That's 3 or 4 draws into wins, and then you're in the mix. So I think we're a summer away from having a chance to compete, and that's what I've taken from this run. We've lost 2 out of 10. We're competitive. There's not a game I can remember other than Salford at home where we haven't been competitive against a team in this league. And that, when you look around everything in football at the minute, and especially all these things coming out at the minute with all the budgets in this league and how much people have overspent, what's it, Salford overspent by £40,000 a day or something?
They were losing 56 grand a week.
56 grand a week. That's bonkers.
It's similar to Scunny's 65k a week they were losing, but that wasn't
that's bonkers
at the time.
Yeah, that's bonkers. And where's that get you? What the playoffs in League
National
2,
League North, Weatherby. This is worth mentioning as well. Andrew Matthews says Scannell played at last and didn't look fit. Yeah, he looked well off it. He really did against Crawley. He didn't look anywhere near what he did in that sort of appearance that he made at Yeovil. So, again, Hurst fully justified as to why people are going, I haven't seen Scannell. What's going on? Why doesn't he play him? It's because he plays like me.
I think
no disrespect.
I think that's a touch harsh. I think that's a bit harsh, mate. Just a touch. Yeah, but let's also remember, what's the guy who made 2 appearances in nearly a year? Everybody needs a bit of football to come up to speed. You can do as much running around Willesby Woods as you want. Not that I know you can do that.
But he looked more than rusty. He looked more than rusty. It looked like that. When you're trying to fight it, he might well, if he wants to continue, he might, somewhere like Scunny or something, he might well find a bit of, he'd be the best player at Scunny, but it's just not for. It just doesn't look like he was ready for it.
I tend to. I think that'll be him now. After coming back from that injury, and he's struggled to cement his place back in the side or get any football. He'll probably want to try and keep playing as long as he can, but I think that'll be him here for absolute definite.
Let me just have a quick look, because Matt in Woolwich had a go at us because I don't read the tweets because it doesn't come up. Everything else comes up on the right. Let's have a quick look. I've got now. Yeah, fine. No one's
asking about cycle lanes if it's Matt.
Cycle lanes, that's fine. I don't mind that as long as it stays on cycle lanes. And then that was it, really. Then we've got Hartlepool coming up, and I think this is the problem now. We're coming up against teams like Crawley and like Hartlepool, where it really matters, and they are fighting for every single point they can get, and we are a little bit on the beach. And so, it's a bit of a it's one of these games again where you go, oh, if we lose to Hartlepool, he probably doesn't say anything other than they are so desperate for points. You know, we all know how it feels like that. So you know, it's
yeah. I mean, I don't.
Could be a
I
toughie.
I get where you're coming from. You know, there's a team with something big to play for, and a team with probably not. But you know, I'm not.
We're
I'm
playing for
racking my brain.
13th.
Yeah, but I'm racking my brains to think of a Paul Hurst team that's ever come out with that attitude. Really.
Yeah, true.
I mean, there
You're
might be
right.
a little bit, but I mean, the last couple of games we've played, we've been in the same position. You know, we've been competitive. We've had a good chance of winning. I don't think there's been any problems with commitment and that. And Paul Hurst doesn't sign players that, you know, on the whole, that are gonna be like that. Everybody's gonna be wanting to impress. You know, it's a big squad. It's a short career. You know, and you want to maybe think, you know, I want to be a professional footballer next year. Because there would be one or two that you think one move from a League Two club, you go into the Conference National League, and it's difficult to get back out. So there'll be a few players maybe wanting to make sure they stay league players next year. So there is always a something to play for. And as Paul Hurst says, you never know who's watching.
And if you do want to come on and put your opinion in, you know, please do. Just drop us a quick message. Say I'd like to come on the chat, and we'll send you the invite, and you can, you know, drop us a DM on Twitter, and we'll put you on, because it'd be good to hear people's opinions tonight. I don't understand betting, so someone needs to talk me through this. So Sky Bet are saying Hartlepool are 100 to 30 to win. What does that mean? Because that sounds a bit OTT.
I think it's for every 30 quid you put on, you get 100 back. So that would be about 3 to 1, wouldn't it? Somebody help me out.
I don't know. We're 8 to 11 to win.
Yeah, so every 30 quid you put on, you get 100 back.
Do you know what? I'm gutted, because I turn around.
Shows how much we know about it, doesn't it?
I turned around to Sam at Crawley, and it was when Lloyd hit the post, and I went, Sam, put 20 quid on us to draw, and we never actioned it. We never did. We'd all be in Marbella by now. Yeah, it was a. I don't know what that means. Someone please help out. You guys are more educated than I am, so you'd be able to tell me what the betting meant. It says that.
What did you think about
much.
West Yorkshire Police?
Okay, here we go. So I do have a little bit of experience in it, in terms of it kind of working.
Been nicked a few times.
Field. Been nicked a few times. My security clearance doesn't say that. Police forces will the West Yorkshire Police will tomorrow on Monday morning and say that was a success because it went off without a hitch. I think if I'm a Bradford fan and I'm looking at the amount there that has been spent on policing a game, I would be really disappointed that my club has had to pay that much for that. I think it's hard sometimes for police services to change their approach so radically, so quickly, but I'm just as guilty as everybody else by saying, well, look at Bradford, look at Southampton, look at Brighton, look at Southampton. We took 4,500. I would say Brighton was an entirely different atmosphere to a league game against Bradford. I wouldn't say that about the Southampton game. I think there was a little bit of needle there, but that game could easily be policed in a far less stringent and aggressive manner than what it is. And I'm not there, but I know full well how that game will have been policed. So I'm surprised that I'm not surprised it was policed like that. I'm surprised that the Bradford, and we're talking about a so-called Twitter account / podcast, which professes to be and masquerades as a lower league football podcast, but is actually run by a Bradford fan who's quite keen on pushing Bradford stuff. And they are, saying that we come with a reputation. And I think, I don't know, we used to, and it used to be perpetrated and, exuded by our former regime. Nick Dale used to use banning orders like there were Christmas cards, for an easy life. And I think when you've got your former owners saying that women are carrying pyros in as tampons, and that Stevenage were right to search female supporters and telling them to lift up to expose their bras, then I think you're only going to have that perpetrated more. It's going to take a while, but I think all the press I've seen in the last 18 months to 2 years of Grimsby Town has been widely positive, apart from what I thought was a bit of a hatchet job by Matt Lawton, who was trying to write something and he didn't find it, so he exaggerated everything. I'm really sorry that was rambly.
No, I think Matt Lawton, we discussed this in detail, didn't we? He went looking for, he knew what he was going to write and just didn't bother what was, that was a story he'd gone to. Why are you going to a Northern Football League game? You're going to write, a bit of poverty porn sort of thing. So he didn't see that. It creates a narrative though. You've got people on Twitter, as you said, saying, oh yeah, because of your reputation. Well, let's just strip that back a minute, right? For this season and last season, I hadn't heard a thing other than the odd dickhead, which everybody's got, the odd person maybe, kicking off outside a ground. There's been absolutely nothing. Before then, we had a year with no crowds. So that's 3 years where pretty much nothing has happened. So where does his reputation come from? I think it comes from, like you said, John Fenty, maybe, trying to create a narrative, to maybe silence or disapprove a few people's opinions, possibly. And it's come from Burton and various other little instances, which is 16 years ago. As a Town fan, I cannot remember any major trouble since Burton. I might be, I might be wrong, but I can't remember it. And what's frustrating us as a football fan, this false narrative is allowed to be produced about, oh, these fans.
When was that Sheffield United friendly?
Oh, I can't remember. It was years ago, though, wasn't it?
I think it was before, but I think it was after Burton. But no, I get what you're saying. I'll have a look it up while you're talking.
I forgot my point now. Yeah. So what really annoys me is, as a football fan, there is this narrative that's allowed to be created about football fans are yobs. Football fans need to be treated like animals, and we've all seen it at away games. You'll get kettled, you'll get hurdled. If you're on a train, you have to go to a certain place, or you can't. I've had it when we played Doncaster away. I nearly got shoved back on a train to Grimsby, even though I was staying with my dad in Doncaster. So we're treated like second-class citizens because of a reputation, which, to be honest, when you look across the footballing world, I don't think we have much of a reputation. You look at places in Europe and there's so much more crowd trouble than there is in the UK. And I can't understand why that people get away with it. You see, there's Twitter accounts with fan groups and what have you, just trying to expose some of the stuff. But it's like football fans are treated a certain way because it's convenient. You can clock up the overtime. You can justify your job. I think that's what it comes down to.
I think the problem you have as well is football fans are easily divided. And today was a good case in point, where instead of what should be a lower league podcast talking about how fans are treated, they were doing relatively snide comments about, and patronizing comments about our reputation, but we behaved well. We behaved well because we do behave well. Like, a group of fans out of the vast majority, as we always say, 2,200 there. If there's more than 10 arrests, then I'd be surprised. And, that's a tiny proportion of who go. And, it's only because it's policed like that, they will, they're dealt with that way. Rugby games are no better. I've been on a train when the Army have played the Navy at Twickenham, and that is
bonkers. It's bonkers. Yeah. Absolutely mental.
And I worry when you've got a lower league podcast like that, instead of treating it as, sorry, I got off my point, where the tribalism, and they can easily use it to divide everybody. And instead of Bradford and Grimsby fans coming together and go, that is outrageous policing. It's completely and utterly unnecessary. Why are you charging us that? You can't just make stuff up. If you say that is the reason why, considering all the data you have on hand for the moment, Grimsby Town have gone from having 86 banning orders to 36. That's more than a 50% reduction in people that have banning orders at the club. There is also 15,000 people that have travelled in the last month, and I would love to see how many collectively arrests have been made. I would be surprised if it hit double figures. That's the information you should be taking. And even if you are potentially policing a game which could erupt and be a problem, they should be policed. You know, you don't. My dad used to be a policeman. He was a policeman for 25 years, and he goes, "You never start at 100%, because if you go in full blown, what's all this? What's going on? Blah blah blah. You've got nowhere else you can take that. If you start friendly, amenable, exactly how it was policed in Japan and anywhere else where, you know, you have that, you can have it, but put it out the way. Don't show a show of force. Police it friendly, and then if you need to raise it, you can do. But there's no need to, you know, have a show of force to make it intimidating, because it's just not brilliant. And I'll go to the comments in a second.
But you see, you're quite right. When you have a confrontational environment, it creates confrontation. You know, if you do these things, you know what the result is going to be. So, you know, softer touch is always better. You look at Brighton, fans milling around, having a beer outside the ground, mixing with Brighton fans. I know it's slightly different because there's no massive rivalry, but still, if you was a dickhead, still going to be dickheads. But, you know, it was a lot better and a lot well policed, and people just mingled. And when they treat like adults, the vast majority behave like adults. You're always going to get an arsehole, but you're going to get those on a Saturday night down Meggies. You're going to more than you're going to get them at Blundell Park.
I went to Fulham. I used to go to watch Fulham a little bit. You know, when Russell Slade was in charge, I flirted with Fulham a bit. The toilets, the queue to get in the toilets, to, you know, not everybody needed a crap, you know, like they were round the back, like, you know, people were like out there with their bags already doing this. It's like, it's incredible. And I'll tell you something. When I went to Brighton, we were sat on row B, right behind the goal. Which is a shame because most of the goals were at the other end. But there was a policeman there from Sussex who, when they all came out, they just stood in front of us, and everyone was like, "Sit down. I pay money and I can't see a thing because you're all stood in front of me." And they're all just milling around because I don't think they really had a plan. And this, I shouted at the copper to sit down. You know, surely you've got a pre-game plan of where everybody goes. And he turns around to the group and just shushes everyone. To me, that's a little bit aggy and not needed. And I saw him at Crawley, and I went over and said a little thing to him about it. I says, "I assume you won't be shushing everybody and getting in everybody's way today." And he looked a bit sheepish. But I don't know. It's just that little bit of confrontation. I don't think I am quite aggy. But I don't see the point. And it's a shame when you have podcasts out there that are trying to portray themselves as for everybody in the lower league, but they go quite tribal, and everyone could just play each other off. Everyone, it's like, Grim. You saw it, and that's why I was so disappointed. And so I still have a thing about Stevenage to this day, because I couldn't believe the response from their fans when sections of our female fans says, "I've been humiliated. I've been asked to pull up my top in public for everyone to see, to show I'm not smuggling stuff into this ground." And instead of them going, and I think Town fans, maybe because of who was running it at the time, would have turned around and gone, "That is disgraceful. How dare our club do that?" Stevenage as a whole, nobody, and I mean nobody, turned around and said anything like that. They were like, "You are Northern. You are dirty Northerners. You are disgraceful. You act disgustingly. You get what you're given." And it was tantamount to racism in the way that they talked about it. And I will never forgive Stevenage fans for that. And I hope, you know, Steve Evans treats them as the way they are. But I was really surprised at how they reacted. And if fans are going to keep doing that, the police will be able to take everyone for mugs, and we'll all have this journey.
Yeah, it massively frustrating. You know, as lower league football fans, we know, we experience it, and we should be sticking together. There's a bit of friendly rivalry, but we should be sticking together on things like this. You know full well that football fans are treated a different way from any other fan of any other sport anywhere in the world. You know, so to be calling out a fellow fan base because you have an agenda is just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. Bren Brister says, "I was in a pub in Cambridge a few weeks ago, talked to them, and they said that saying us Town fans have a reputation, also said they were shut when we're about, definitely have a reputation." That's interesting, because we go to a pub in Cambridge quite close to the ground. They never shut. They love having us there. But then again, we know them quite well. That said, they said it's always the minority let us down, but that's true for most groups. Totally agree.
But the point I'm making is that is no different from any fan base anywhere ever.
Yeah.
That's every
Ollie Hodgson,
football fan base.
Ollie Hodgson says, imagine if they had sniffer dogs in theatres or Parliament, would soon change the narrative. Ollie, you can see it at the moment with the nitrous oxides that they're banning for the kids. What's the point in doing that? There's no point apart from it litters, which is no different than McDonald's. So maybe we should ban that as well.
Littering's already illegal, But
yes. Pardon?
Littering's already illegal anyway, so why are they making it illegal again?
It's just, I think everyone in Parliament should have to do a drugs test before they go into the chamber. Those toilet seats need a swabbing in Parliament. I don't think you need to swab them. You just need to blow on them. It'll look like a book. A long lost books. Grimsby Town fan says, I got stopped by Greater Manchester Police when I went to Rochdale to watch Town and searched based on me wearing a Town shirt. Nolan, who lives in the States, says sports policing here is pretty heavy at the gates, but there's no segregation in sections or anything like that. I've seen grounds like at football we have stewards, but we still have for less. I like it being segregated. Ollie says even the police at Luton were decent. A few of them greeting fans outside the train station, and that sets it. That sets the level. The first interaction you have on that day. Ollie says, I'm all for change, but banning McDonald's is one step too far. I'll fight to keep it. I mean, Ollie, I'll just, by the sounds of it, all I've got to do is run up a flight of stairs and you'll struggle. So that's fine. If you're fighting that much, if you need McDonald's that badly in your life.
I tell you what, I walk up a flight of stairs and I struggle.
Now, sorry, I've got me against McDonald's. Brilliant. But it's a shame. And until football fans start to come together, we're all going to have this. And I found today a little bit disappointing from that, but not surprising. Hartlepool coming up will be all right. Good Friday. We'll do a thing. Then we'll do a podcast on. Are we doing one on Sunday? I mean, maybe. Easter's not really a holiday, is it?
No, it's just an excuse to have a few days off work, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll Grimsby Town fan says, I love getting Mackies before going to Blundell Park. Even now with the decent food. They used to do double cheeseburger meal, which used to be 2 cheeseburgers. It used to be a 2 cheeseburger meal at Blundell Park at McDonald's.
Chesy burger.
That used to be my go-to. What about a second breakfast? Yeah, I keep erming. I'm really sorry. I think I'm done. I don't know anything else we've got to say, have we?
Everything's all right. It is what it, I came away from the weekend and Tuesday. It is what it is, Is
anybody out? I would love to. There's some people that don't like Paul Hurst, and I occasionally have a pop at them. Is anybody not feeling okay at the moment? Is anybody a bit concerned with how everything's going? What are your big concerns? It'd be great to get them in. If you've got a couple of minutes, just type them in and we'll have that chat and we'll see, use it as a therapy session. But I don't really want to get into yet about who we keep and who we don't keep. I want to say McAtee had a really good, because I've been critical of him lately. I thought he had a really good first half against Bradford. And I thought he played really well, and it was that pressing from the start that really helped us get on the front foot.
It's always the pass. He doesn't pass it where he should, when he should. That's the problem he's had this season.
Was Jeff Stelling busy tonight? Simon, we didn't get it. We didn't get him. I'm really sorry. We're letting everyone down. I think we're now the pariahs of the podcast world in League Two. But we will find somebody, and if anybody does have inserts, who's the next team we play after Hartlepool? Is it Mansfield again?
No, it's Donny.
We will get the Donny guy on. The Donny guy was great. We'll ask him to come on and we'll have a chat about what's to expect from Donny. That looks to be well on its way to another sellout, 4,000, obviously. You mad bunch of bastards.
Absolutely. I mean, should we be surprised though, Alex, people not coming on? I mean, I don't think people realise that you've now moved from calling everybody else's ground and town a shithole to actually calling ours. It's not doing much for our return.
Is that the Blundell Park thing?
Yeah.
I don't really like Blundell Park because I've never seen us be good in it. Like, we used to be all right. Like, even when we were in the Championship, it'd be like a brief flurry of decent games. Like that 2001, 2002 run where we won about 5 home games still sits quite prominently well in my memory. I don't know. I don't remember having many big moments there, apart from beating Spurs.
I know where you're coming from because my first full season was Slade's first season, so I've not seen much.
Yeah, and like even
I'm not from the town, and I moved away as well. So Blundell Park is maybe a solid 4 years I had there as a town fan, and that's it.
And it's just even that season where we went through, we got to the playoff final, we lost in the last minute at Blundell Park. Northampton equalised and then Leighton Orient scoring. Like,
I remember that.
It's just all I remember from Blundell Park is pain. Lots of pain. And all the great moments we have are away from Blundell Park. Beating Southampton, beating Liverpool, winning at Wembley, Braintree game. All the memorable stuff in my head is away from Blundell Park. And that's a shame. And hopefully that'll change. But the club need to do a lot to bring it in, because I don't know. We're never moving. So, get comfy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. You guys can love it. It's just me. I'm an old fart.
It's interesting though what you say about Paul Hurst. I would be interested, if there's anybody, maybe not tonight, or just wants to come on and has a different viewpoint for what us happy clappers seem to be called, what we have. It'd be interesting to have the discussion, because I don't see it myself, and I think it boils down to the last time he was here. That's where it stems from. There's some people that he can never please, regardless of what happens. There's some people who will never have a good word to say about him.
I was frustrated at Hurst before that Braintree game, and I was annoyed enough. I wasn't annoyed enough to put out a banner, but I was still looking like, look, he's got to go. If this doesn't work, this is a season he needs to move on. So.
I wouldn't disagree with that at the time, but that wouldn't be from
that never happened.
But that wouldn't be from a performance point of view. That would be for maybe it's time for a change and a bit of a fresh approach. But if we hadn't gone up in 2016, we would have been getting rid of a manager who guarantees you a playoff place.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much just guarantees you a playoff place. And then so the only one better you could have done in 2017 is winning automatically. And that's why I was a bit like, what's the point in getting rid of him?
I would have been in for bringing the Cowleys in at the end of that season. That's who I'd have probably been going for. But I've also been someone who said that Ian Holloway would be a great idea. So don't come to me asking about what managers we should bring in.
You could have made a whole different sort of football then, couldn't you?
Well, I tell you, yeah. Well, I said at the time when Holloway came in, he's going to put bums on seats, and it's either going to work or he's going to burn the whole fucking thing down, and he did. So I'm quite happy with that. Grimsby Town fan says, "What about Spurs at Blundell Park 2005? Do you want to know a little secret? I wasn't there. It was Freshers Week. I was annihilated in Lincoln, singing 'We're the Pride of Lincolnshire,' stood on a table. But I wasn't. No. So, but I understand that. But that's still, you're going back nearly 20 years now for a strong memory at BP. And I think the Luton game is probably the next one you get to it. Andrew Nara says, after Sir Alan, Hurst is the most successful manager in recent times. He absolutely is.
We're also, talking about going 20 years. We're going back nearly 16 years since we've been this high in the league, really. So I think sometimes we completely forget that. We still live in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
And
we've not been here for a long, long time. This is about as good as it gets from my town supporting days. I've seen one season has finished above 14th.
And there's nothing wrong with having those aspirations. No, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with having those aspirations, saying that's where we need to get to, and having those high standards. But I don't even think, just compare us to how Bradford fans were treating the game yesterday. We don't have that sort of level of expectations. We're not booing. If we are in the playoffs, we're not booing the team off at half time. I don't think I've ever seen that, even in the conference. Nolan says we were 12th at half time at Blundell Park. If we finished there, that's a hell of a season, and we can still do that immediately by winning our last game in hand. Absolutely, that's where we need to be. If we can be in the top, if we finish above 13th, to me that's goal achieved. If we finish anywhere in the top half of the season, that top half of the table, That is an incredible season. That and an FA Cup quarter-final will be ranked as one of our best seasons since surviving in the Championship, I would say.
Yeah, and don't forget a 59-game season of which we had nearly the entire January without playing a game, so we've had to cram everything in. I think that's a massive factor in that as well.
Yeah. Ben Bristow says Holloway was decent until COVID and the Alex May situation. Yeah, absolutely right, Ben.
Yeah.
And remember, people were quite happy, and I think we were okay with it at the time as well. You know, when he said I was staying, like, yeah, good, like stay, fight the good fight. What I didn't like was him trying to put off the new owners buying the club, you know, I'm staying, and then 5 days later leaving, and you know everything that came out afterwards, bought flat balls, terrible recruitment and stuff.
It's something, you know, I don't know, but you've got to see. You look at pre-COVID and you look at Holloway post-COVID, two completely different blokes.
I would love to find that out. Maybe we should reach out to him at some point and actually have an interview with him.
Yeah, he won't come on here, mate.
No, he probably won't. The coward. But it would be good to get.
It's like Fenty. He wouldn't come on here, would he?
I'm not having him on here. Christ, Bradford fans would have something to say then. Like, look at him. This bloke's trying to strangle a guy through a screen. It would be incredible. But don't make that the last thing. We are champions, league winning champions.
We are going up.
We are going up. Look, Ben's come back. Ben's a bit upset. That's fine. Like, let's have a look. He's going back to now and says, but we didn't. We've dropped so many points recently where we should have done better and haven't. Not Paul Hurst by any means, just ludicrous. It's just frustrating. It is frustrating. But Ben, I guess, do you think we're a finished article yet? And if we're not, what do you think is missing? Because I bet we've got the same list. I bet we're still looking at the same weaknesses. The
flip side is you're dropping points you shouldn't have done better, and that's worrying. We're dropping points when we should have done better. So there is obviously an underachievement, which is better than an overachievement in that side of things. What I would say is for our points total, there's only a handful of games I think we've not got what we deserved. You know, I don't think we've won many games we didn't deserve to, or we didn't draw many games we didn't deserve to. I think but I think we've pretty much got what we deserve by and large, with one or two notable exceptions.
Trying to think where we had our arses handed to us. We had our arses handed to us
Salford.
Against Salford, against Swindon, against Brighton. No, I don't think that counts. Who else do we have?
They're the only two league games I can think of, mate.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look. I'm trying to have a look. Where else were we disappointed? Let's have a look at some of the defeats. We haven't got too many. Orrin at home, Orrin away, first game of the season. Yeah, fine. Then it's 2 cup defeats, Forest and Derby. Swindon 2-1 at home and Carlisle 2-1 at home. Same 2 nights. I can't even remember those games. Can you?
No, but 2-1s, you know.
Yeah. And then Barrow 1-0 away, which was frustrating because we played pretty decent there.
Yeah. It was on the back of a good run, actually, wasn't we, as well?
And then the same with, Hartlepool. We lost that one 2-1 last minute. That one was frustrating.
I was so annoyed at that one. Yeah.
Donny lost 3-1 in November.
Yeah, we weren't in that game.
Yeah. AFC Wimbledon, we weren't really in that game either, I would say. I think it was a pretty poor game from both teams. Yeah, Wimbledon had 2 shots on target. We had 1.
I think it was whoever nicked a goal win. I don't think anybody deserved to win the Wimbledon one.
No. And then Harrogate, last minute, Max Crocombe own goal. We were the better team throughout that game.
We should have won that one.
Yeah. Salford had our arses handed to us. Swindon had our arses handed to us. And between that, we beat Stockport and Burton. And then Colchester at home, which we should have won, I think. Or am I wrong? We should have got a point out of that.
Yeah, a point maybe.
Gillingham, I think they were the better team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Carlisle, I think that's excusable straight after Southampton. And then yesterday's defeat. So, I mean, there's a few defeats there, but I don't think we were too much.
But there's only less than a handful, really, that are defeats where you're not in it. If you know what I mean. 2-1s, 1-0s, you know, the rub of the green, something goes right. That's what I mean, is by and large, with a few notable exceptions, we've been massively competitive against every single team in this league, which for a team coming up finishing as low as we did in the National League, having a short pre-season, having to turn a squad around again for the second summer to come into the League Two and be performing to that standard is why I think what we're doing is perfectly fine. You know, we've turned it around from National League, got up, consolidated in League Two, and we've been competitive against every single team.
Nolan says his list is a right back, as in Emmanuel, if he can, goalkeeper and a striker. I don't know, goalkeeper. I think Max does need some competition at least, and another solid centre back. I think what you're missing there from me is I think we need 2 strikers and we need a bit of pace as well. So I'd have liked to have now I've seen how the season's played out. I'd have liked to have kept Rico Souza just to have that transition.
Are we saying everybody on loan's going?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get George Lloyd.
So you'd need a right back, possibly 2. You'd need 2 centre backs, probably 2 midfielders, 2 wide players, and 2 strikers.
Yeah, I don't think you're too wrong. I'm too far away from that. Nolan says Carlisle was a Miche disaster class. I'm not touching that. I'll wait for Sam to come on to defend his man. Swindon we lost because their goalkeeper made some phenomenal saves. Unless you mean the away game in which they absolutely deeped us.
Can I point out?
Crucified us.
Can I point out for Sam, who's been having a little dig about Max on Twitter? If only he stuck up for Max the way he does for Michi.
Yeah, well, you know, Sam doesn't like standing up for a Max, and rightly so. Formula One joke there for you people. Gemma asks, what are your expectations? Do you mean for this season, Gemma, or for next season? The higher we go, less games we win. We haven't had a great season. No, I'm not having this. I don't like somebody else being in charge of the board. Jamie says, we haven't had a great season in the league. I think we'll be all right, Jamie. I know what you mean, but you got to look at where we are. Bit of a rebuild in the summer. We can compete next season, absolutely. And I think we just got to be. Let's not be too careful. Let's not be too on Hurst to begin with, because he's going to have brought in some players. I think that'll have a little bit of expectation pumped onto them. Andrew says we need taller players. I wouldn't disagree. Yeah, we do. Bradford look like giants compared to us. They really did.
I mean, even our centre halves aren't massive, are they? Mar and Smith, even Waterfall. I know Waterfall dominates in the air, but he's not a massive lad, is he?
No, I don't think so.
And that's right. Where we do struggle. We struggle with the change when people are playing that way. I think we don't compete that way.
Jamie says Hurston, absolutely, Jamie, and it's not a problem, is it? We're done, and we wrap it up. We had a whole thing to talk about for an hour and 7 minutes.
There were just 2 of us. That's pretty difficult, wasn't it?
I kind of want Alicia to come back on. I want to see exactly how hammered the team are by now. That's a lot of beer being sunk between now and then. Simon says, do you think many teams... Okay, this is a good question. We'll end on this question.
Clifton.
Mike, do you think teams may come in for any of our players? You've got to pick 3 players that people are coming in for. I'm going to write them down as you say yours. I'll write them on the back of my Crawley Town ticket.
So I think Harry Clifton, without a doubt.
Hang on. Do loan players count or not?
Well, if loan players count, then Smith and Emmanuel, but I don't think they do.
Okay, I'm not going to count them then.
I don't. Maybe Morris, only because there has been interest in him previously, hasn't there? And until recently, I would also say Glennon, because I know some people are not maybe his biggest fan, but I think his goal involvements is massively underrated. And I think as well, he has been involved in a team that has kept an awful lot of clean sheets when he's been playing. Less so at the minute, but there was a big run at the start of the year and towards the February, March, beginning of March time, where there was a lot of clean sheets. So Glennon, if he could be more consistent. So there's me 3.
Okay. So who are your players? Sorry, Smith?
No, Clifton.
Yeah.
Clifton, Glennon. And I said Morris, but that's I'm struggling.
I went for Clifton, Marr, and Glennon.
Oh, so 2. Yeah, no, the Morris one's a bit. I think he might go and somebody will sign him.
If Holohan was younger,
oh, absolutely.
Given his FA Cup exploits, I would imagine he'd have gone. But I think he could still be on his way.
I tell you what, I know that Jamie Ellis there Ben Moore saying there about Clifton. They'll have to pay some bloody money for him though.
Ben says Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley are the rumours for Clifton after turning down Exeter and Forest Green. Understandable in the summer. I mean, Ben, I wouldn't stand in his way if Barnsley or Sheffield Wednesday came in for him. I'd be disappointed to see him go, but I wouldn't stand in his way. And he's done all he needed to do here, but I'd love to keep him. But if those two clubs come in, you can't say no, can you?
And
he can stay at home.
It's a short career, and you know what? From what you hear, I think his heart ruled his decision in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if he could have gone elsewhere for more money, but didn't. And there's only so many times as a young footballer you can be allowed to do that. So if somebody comes in and wants to pay him the money because he's our player, we've signed him on a long contract, then good luck to you, Harry. And maybe, hope you do well and you'll be back here at the end of your career. But you can't stand in a lad's way if something like that happens.
Ben says one of our own wouldn't go to the vegans like a chippy. No, he likes beef dripping in his chips. That's why Grimsby chips are so nice. And Jamie Ellis says it's nice to have a relatively stress-free end to the season for once. Do you know what? It's just enjoy these games. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly going into them with a different mindset. There's nothing on it. I would like to finish higher than 12th. Oh, sorry, higher than 13th, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. But that's what I'd be striving to achieve. So I'm enjoying it.
When's the last time we had a season like this, mate? I think we said before, didn't we? It's either shit or bust for us.
I would say the Big Knot season. When was the Big Knot season?
Yeah, that was 16-17, wasn't it? It was the first season back in the league, and then so that was one. So previous 4 or 5 years we had a playoff campaign pretty much end of every season. Then we had the Big Knot, the Hurst Big Knot Slade season, and then that's where shit went downhill after that, didn't it? Every season was pretty much in the mix of it, and I know. Going on to a entirely different subject now, but I was thinking about it the other day, when Big Knot was here, he got a lot of criticism for talking about consolidation, making sure we don't go shit or bust again and we become a league team. He was right, because look what happened afterwards. We didn't consolidate, we didn't build a base. We got rid of him and went bust again. Yeah.
We finished 14th that season. So that's the season, that's our highest finish since 2006. Mm-hmm. Teams that finished around us then, Accrington above us, Barnet just below, 5 places above us, Wickham.
Blimey.
And then in 4th, Luton. So, amazing. Look, I think we're done. We've done our bit for good cause and for Queen and Country. We'll see you all very soon. Have you got anything to add before we go? Oh, no, Queen's dead. King and Country.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. I don't want to, It's too soon, isn't it, really?
Too soon. I made a Titanic joke at Southampton. I was told that was that was too soon.
I must say, without going into any detail at all, I'm glad sometimes you run a joke past some people before you post it. Because there's one or two.
There was one a couple of days ago.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I'm on the edge. I'm going to get cancelled before you know it. Look, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back hopefully next Sunday, Easter Sunday. If not, we'll probably do something Saturday. We got a bit of a break now. We got no game on Tuesday.
Friday. We've got 6 days off.
Christ, they can all go on holiday.
Know what football looks like when they get back, are they?
No, absolutely. Is this our one break and then it's back to the grindstone again?
Pretty much.
And we got to finish it. Again, congratulations to the Grimsby Town Women's team. They've won the league champions, all getting absolutely hammered as we speak, rightly so. And we shall see you all on Sunday. See you later, guys.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
Back of the net! They've done it!
Football League.